So, I am getting nice and cozy for today's episode because I am still recovering from my Caravana illness, which is not the idea of needing more Bacchanal, but I actually got sick after Caravana. So, I'm filming this episode with my nice hot cup of cinnamon, ginger, lemon, and honey and water. I guess, is that really tea? I don't know. And yeah, we're going to be talking today about trusting yourself after your body has been trained not to trust yourself. How do we get back into our bodies and return home and find a way to trust ourselves, which I think happens in two steps that I'll go over in this episode. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to a new episode of the Mini Mirror Show. On this podcast, we talk about life philosophy, emotional wellness, and so much more. I'm your host, Amira Sookram, and I'm the author of the Guilt-Free Goals book and upcoming book, Feelings-Based Living. And I send out monthly emails called flow notes that talk about energetic alignment. So there is a lot of talk online about how when we've faced trauma in our lives or when we've had an emotionally neglected childhood, that it can be really hard to trust ourselves. As somebody who has been diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, I understand how hard it is to actually be able to trust my body. Because a lot of the time, my body sends me signals of danger when there might not actually be danger happening. And it has been a process of learning about my emotions and rewiring my nervous system so that I am able to trust myself fully again. So, as I always say, step one is emotional literacy. We have to start naming our emotions and creating a healthy relationship with ourselves and our emotions to be able to trust ourselves and our bodies. So we can understand that I am feeling anxious right now. And even though I'm like angry at this person or feeling unsafe, that anxiety is playing a role in how I am feeling. So, step number one, naming your emotions. As we start to practice emotional literacy, we will start to build trust with our bodies again. But it doesn't happen overnight. It's going to be a long process of learning to sit with those emotions as they arise, learning to validate them, and learning to create a healthy home within our bodies that says, hey, whatever you're feeling, it's okay. Whatever you're feeling, we can get through this. Whatever you are feeling, you will find safety again. And so, step one, naming your emotions, creating that relationship with yourself over a longer period of time will help you rewire your nervous system to understand that emotions are okay, they're acceptable, and they happen. And we have to surrender to them and allow them to happen. If we continuously run away from our feelings and run away from the feelings of anxiety, we're never going to create that healthy home where we can be fully ourselves and accepted for who we are. I just realized I didn't put a timer up on my screen, so I don't really know how long this is. But let's jump into step two. Also, so funny, my voice is like completely different from when I was ranting last week to now having to keep a calm voice so that I don't throw it out in this episode. After we create that healthy home within our bodies, the next step is to create a healthy relationship with a higher power, whether that be God, the universe, spirit, ancestors, any name that feels comfortable, you can give it to that higher power. So we can take that trust within ourselves and then we have to level it up to understand that the only way we're ever going to fully trust in our bodies, and maybe it's not fully trust, but trust our bodies. The only way that we can fully trust our bodies is when we actually have this understanding that we trust something bigger than ourselves as well. I'll use the word universe because that's what works for me, but you can replace that word with anything that feels aligned for you. When we trust in the universe that everything is going to be okay no matter what is happening, like your life can be in shambles, but you're like, oh, I trust that this has its higher purpose. I trust that everything I'm going through is happening for a reason. And I trust that the circumstances in my life are meaningful and I matter and what I want matters. And what is coming to me is going to be important for me on this path. Trusting in a higher power was probably one of the hardest parts of my yoga teacher training and my yoga practice generally, because part of yoga is actually to give yourself up to a higher power. And for me, when I was doing my yoga teacher training, I remember talking to one of the other like teachers who were training, and they said to me, like, it seems like, with your depression and stuff, it's really hard for you to trust the universe. It's really hard for you to build trust. And in that moment, I was very like frustrated with myself because I was like, I see the problem. I see it so clearly, but there's nothing I can do about it because what I feel right now matters. And what I feel is that I cannot trust in this moment. So that was 7 years ago. And it has taken me 7 years, probably more like 6 years, to come to a place where I built a healthy home within my body through my yoga practice, through having injuries, through having to interact with the world in a completely different way than my early 20s. From having all those life circumstances come up, I learned to build this relationship with my emotions and my body and my mind and my spirit. And then I was able to understand that everything happens for a reason. And part of saying that is not just saying it, but it's also trusting and understanding that no, I really trust everything is happening to me for a reason. And no matter what happens, I am going to be okay. And if I'm not okay, that's what's meant to happen. Part of this is also working a little bit with our relationship to our health and death, which could be a whole other topic and a whole other podcast episode. But when we have a healthier relationship to the lives that we are living currently, we understand that no matter what happens is meant to happen to us. We can't change the universe. We can't change what is going on. We can only take control of what is in our personal power to take control of, and everything else we surrender to. You can't force that person to be in a relationship with you. You can't make your family member get better overnight. You can't make your anxiety go away. It's there for a reason, and we have to learn how to work with it to trust our bodies again and ultimately trust the universe that whatever is happening to us is happening for our highest good. All right, my voice is dying right now, and I really shouldn't have tried projecting. And I wanted to listen to my body to rest and not record this podcast episode, but something in me, it was speaking through me, and it had to come out. I'm grateful for you being here. Remember to sign up for Flow Notes so you know when my new book is coming. Remember to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and engage with this podcast in any way you can. That's it for this week. Bye. I'm just dying at like sick brain right now.